In this episode, we'll be doing a self-driving tour through Etosha National Park, home to one of the largest populations of big game species in the world. Not only do we have some incredible up-close wildlife experiences while we're here, but we also get to sample some of what Etosha has to offer while staying in their campsites. Hope you'll join us on our adventure. We arrived in Etosha yesterday afternoon. It's bumpy. Alright, maybe stop. It's not going to work driving like this. We arrived in Etosha National Park yesterday afternoon, and we spent our first night at Okaukuejo. Etosha National Park is 22,269 square kilometres in size. It centres on the Etosha Pan, a vast expanse of salt so large that it can literally be seen from space. Spent most of the afternoon and night really just hanging around the waterhole there at Okaukuejo. That waterhole is absolutely fantastic. Okaukuejo is probably the most touristy part of Etosha National Park. There are chalets, a restaurant, a pool, campsites, a general store, and even a service station there. But by far the biggest draw for tourists has got to be that waterhole. So with a constant procession of wildlife making their way to and from the waterhole, both day and night, you could really just spend all of your time in Okaukuejo. And I would imagine there are many who do. No need to go looking for animals when they all just come to you. After spending the evening watching the wildlife, we headed to the restaurant for dinner, only to find around 50 elephants drinking at the waterhole upon our return. It's hard to describe just how awe-inspiring this sight was, and I kinda wished I'd brought a wider lens with me. It was impossible to fit all of the elephants into just one shot. There were other animals there, not counting this rare five-legged elephant, of course. There were rhinos here as well, and they can be pretty territorial, but this mum had the common sense not to bully a giant herd of elephants. In the morning, we were heading back out onto the road again, this time heading towards Halali. Of course, we weren't getting anywhere fast as, well, there were plenty of reasons to keep stopping and taking photos along the way. The diversity of wildlife here was really something to behold. There's just so much to see. Eventually though, we did make it to our campsite in Halali. While the waterhole at Halali is not quite as big as the one at Okaukuejo, there's plenty of wildlife to see here too. I think we both preferred this waterhole. You didn't have quite so many people there. While this may just look like an ordinary house cat, it is in fact an African wildcat. This territorial dispute between two rhinos proves a bit much for the wildcat, but it seems they did eventually settle their differences. This morning we left Halali and we did a little game drive from there. Pretty fantastic. The one thing that's eluded us all along here so far at Etosha has been the predators. So lions, leopards, that sort of thing. Hadn't seen any of that, but this morning we got to see lions on the game drive, so that was well worth it. And our guide there, he did a fantastic job of spotting it. There's no way we would have seen them. These guys were really far away, barely visible with the naked eye. I really have no idea how our guide spotted them. So while these two were having a bit of fun playing by the water, the rest of the pride were taking a bit of a nap. Nobody seemed too interested in doing any hunting this morning. Okay, so that music might have been a bit dramatic for footage of a pride of lazy lions. That's not all we saw though. There was plenty of other wildlife to observe too. I'm not sure what these wildebeest were up to. Maybe just letting off a bit of steam. Back on the road again ourselves, and we were on our way to our final campsite at Namutoni. We stopped to check out a lot of the waterholes along the way though. I feel like these enormous elephants might have been just a little intimidating for the blackback jackal. We were lucky enough to spot a leopard in a tree, but he was pretty quick to jump down and wander away, so we only got a brief chance to snap off some shots. We found ourselves stopping a lot thanks to Animals Crossing, not that we minded that at all. We had a brief chance to check out the salt pan. there's not a lot to see here. But we did eventually make it to our campsite in Namutoni for our final night in Etosha National Park.